We're back. We're live. We're here on Think Tech Talks on a given Tuesday with Dennis Callan, traveler par excellence, par extraordinaire. It's French, actually.
Thank you. Oh, very good. Speaking French, how about some Italian? German? We'll stick with English.
Thanks for coming down.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
We
It's
have
gonna be
called
fun.
this in your name, Travels with Dennis Callan, because you do a lot of travels. Why don't you tell them how much travels, how many travels, what kind of traveling you do?
Oh, yeah, that'll take the whole hour, though. I've been traveling since I was born. Born into a military family, Europe for 3 years as a little kid, and traveling since then. Although I kind of dropped anchor in Hawaii in 1967.
God, that's almost 50 years
And
ago.
yeah, I didn't travel a lot when I first got here because, why bother? Why go? That's what people tell us when we travel. Why did you leave Hawaii?
Yeah, sure.
We're so lucky to be here. But I've been seriously traveling for about 25 years now. I've been leading tours to Europe. And in that time, I've led 70 tours to
70.
Europe. 70, yeah. And usually with about 15 or 20 people from Hawaii.
It's a job.
It's a job, yeah. I organize the group, and then I set up the hotels, and then I lead the tour.
So I want to visit that moment when you decided to, make a job out of it. But that's a great moment. And I think I'm good enough at this, and I like it, and I want to integrate what I like and what I can, and I'm going to make it happen together. Is that what,
It's true. There were a number of moments like that along the way, several epiphanies that led me to it. Why not do tours by train? And so that's my website, Tours by Train.
Okay.
And that's how we travel. We go by train.
Toursbytrain.com.
Yeah.
That's simple.
That's it, yeah. And then my other site is Tour Videos, where I reference my 1,000 videos that I've got on YouTube. So I shoot videos as we travel.
What's your video address?
It's on YouTube, you can just look up my name, Dennis Callan,
Okay.
and that'll bring you to my channel. Or have a separate website, tourvideos.com.
So you're still doing it even more active, I guess, now as you were then?
I am. I do about 3 trips a year to Europe. And then when I'm home, I'm pretty much working full-time editing my videos, which, as you know, video takes forever to put together.
Do it right, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm working every day and editing my video. It's just a lot of fun. It's been a very creative experience for me. And I've brought about 1,400 Hawaii people to Europe during that time. And they've all had a good time.
Sleeping on the train, it ain't easy, because the thing rattles and rolls and makes noise and jumps up in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
how do you deal with that?
we don't sleep on the train. We
It's
go
too expensive for one
during the
thing.
day. During the day, so usually it's a 2-hour or a 3-hour trip from one city to the next. But no, we stay in nice hotels. 4 stars usually.
Oh, very nice.
On average, yeah. And it's so important when you travel to have a hotel. We'll get into logistics of travel in our discussion, but to have a hotel that's in the center of town. You want to be in the center.
You don't have to schlep in and then schlep out again and then schlep in again in the morning.
Yeah, you want about 3 days in a place, and so you unpack a little bit. And from that central hotel in a good city, you're going to see so many things. It's so much fun.
Oh, God, I want to go on one of your trips.
Oh,
If I want to go on one of your trips, I just go to your website
Yeah,
and see what you're doing?
tours by train.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You're getting good at this after a while, huh?
It takes a while. I wasn't that good at the beginning.
But you were determined.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes now and then, but my wife helped to train me on the trains.
Speak all the languages? What? How do you get around?
Really just a little bit of restaurant Italian and German, and we're fortunate as being English speakers that most European personnel who deal with travelers, they speak English.
Yeah.
So we're spoiled. It's real important to learn at least a few words. Hello, how are you?
Yeah,
Do
make
you
friends.
speak English? Bonjour.
Yeah.
Just break the ice in a friendly way as they do with each other. Europeans are really quite friendly.
I agree, but especially the Italians.
Oh, they're the
They're
most.
super duper friendly. Strangers, it doesn't matter.
They've
It's
been,
okay.
They have been officially recognized as the world's friendliest people.
Yeah.
And it's really true.
Let me take a minute and tell you my Europe joke and see if you agree. Okay.
All right.
There's heaven and there's hell. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. In heaven, the policemen are British. Let's see, the cooks are Italian. The mechanics are German,
And the lovers are French.
and the lovers are French. That's in heaven. You heard this already.
I've heard, yeah.
Okay. In hell, it doesn't work quite the same way. All the police are German. The cooks are British. The mechanics are French, and I forgot the Swiss.
The lovers are Swiss.
And the lovers are Swiss.
There are certain cultural differences, and it's true. You know,
And that's not changing.
no, it's been locked in there for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. That's the variety, the
Sure.
spice of life.
That's what makes it work.
Well, within Switzerland, you've got all of that combined in one country. That too is a wonderful place to visit.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the only country right now that I do as a single country tour. Usually my tours go to 2 or 3 countries, 4 countries. But Switzerland itself, you can just visit. They've got the French-speaking, the German, the Italian-speaking. You've got the mountains, the towns, the cities,
Yeah.
countryside.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, how to get the most out of your trip? Let's just knock that one around for a while. How to get the most out of your trip? You want to have done all of that prep work, and so that you're all ready, you're pretty knowledgeable in the place, and you've got a pretty good idea when you get to a town of what's interesting to see. You have a list. You know, you're not just getting there and then trying to make it up. So you've got your list. You might even have a paper map.
It's a written list.
A written
Actually
list?
make a list of the things you plan to see.
I would do that. Top 10 things. It's easy to find these top 10s. You
Sure,
go to
Wikitravel.
Yeah, well, sure. You go to TripAdvisor. They've got all the top 10 things to do, and
Yeah.
Google's got top 10 things. So you want to find out what's popular. After all, you're a tourist. You're not thinking, oh, that's too touristic. I don't want to do it.
You're going to see it.
You want to see it, of course. Eiffel Tower. Oh, I don't want to go to the Eiffel Tower. Everybody goes there. But you want to do these things. So you have your list. And maybe you have a map. You want to, the key things that I enjoy to discover a place are walking and trying to then, have an organized route that you're walking and then improvise and deviate from the route. That's really summarizes the whole thing in a nutshell.
How not to get lost, though.
But you can always ask. Now there's the next thing.
Yeah.
You want to try and strike up some conversations
Very social.
with local
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And there's no better question than say, oh, I'm lost. Where is the nearest cafe? Or where is the fountain with Neptune? Or, excuse me. But you have to be careful as to who you're trying to stop and talk to, because people are generally moving along
They don't
in
have
the
time
city.
for you. Yeah.
New York City is the archetypal case, right?
Yeah.
But you find somebody who is going slowly, or they're just standing waiting maybe, or they make eye contact with you, they smile back at you. And so there's a person you can talk to. You can go up and say, oh, excuse me, do you speak English? And that breaks the ice. And then you just take it from there.
So here we are on the street corner. This reminds me out of that scene with Crocodile Dundee trying to strike up a conversation with a New York stockbroker.
Oh, yeah.
They won't talk to him.
That can be tough, yeah.
How do you make people talk to you?
Well, as we're discussing, you want to find the right person who is not in a rush, somebody who's maybe waiting or standing or whatever, maybe a younger person. The older people might not speak English or feel comfortable with it. So just break the ice. Excuse me, can you help me out? Do you know where the nearest toilet is? Or do you know where the Spanish Steps are? Or mention some landmark that's kind of nearby, and especially if it's something you really need some help on. And then when the conversation gets going, you'll be able to judge if that person has a little bit more time for you, or that's it and they're off. But if they've got some time.
My wife and I, we walked around Paris and we were asking people for where the Marais was. We didn't know exactly how to get there. And we asked one woman, she had to be well into her 80s, running around there, and she took us there.
Wow.
And then she spent the rest of the day with us.
Wow, that's wonderful.
It was wonderful because some people really respond to that.
They do. I had something like that in Paris last time. I was at a bus stop and I wanted to know where is the other bus stop for the express bus. So I'm asking people just, where is at the bus? And this older lady comes over to me speaking no English at all, but she pulls out her purse and uses it as a blank map. And she's showing me on her purse, she says, we're here, and you want to go down there and over there. And she's drawing this elaborate invisible map on her purse. and it was wonderful. I never found the bus stop, but
It was more therapeutic for her than you.
no, it was a very touching. It was a touching interaction. Now you're going to find that Europeans, again, we're back in Europe here with this discussion, are very friendly. They're very sociable. The whole essence of European life is the family and the society. You see that in the streets. You see the sidewalk cafes, and what you really see, let's talk about infrastructure at the same time. You see these pedestrian lanes.
Yes.
Almost everywhere, especially lately, the last 10 years, more and more so, pedestrian lanes in Europe, and it's the locals who are out walking, and some tourists, of course, too. So this is prime hunting ground if you want to find some local to talk to. You head into the pedestrian lanes and ask, oh, where's a good croissant around here? What's a good bakery? What's a good restaurant? What do you suggest for a restaurant? That's a good way to find a restaurant.
Yeah, sure.
Ask a local. And they'll get excited about that, maybe, and maybe they'll walk you there. You might end up having a meal together.
I've had that experience out of nowhere.
Or at least a drink.
Yeah, really.
They like to drink, too.
Yeah. They don't mind if you buy them a drink, too.
Oh, that's always a good offer. Let me get you a glass of wine. Okay, now we're talking. People love to watch other people.
Right.
That's one of the
European
main
experience.
That's one of the main activities when you travel.
Yeah.
People watching.
Yeah.
And that's why in Italy they've got the passeggiata. This is a great tradition. 5 p.m., 6 p.m., it's the people strolling, passeggiata, passing along and just coming out before dinner, after work. Maybe they're on the way to get a drink. Maybe they're doing a little shopping. But really what they're doing is just people watching.
Yeah.
They're showing off. And they're looking, they're scoping out other folks.
It's
they're
an
checking,
occupation.
and
It's
the
wonderful.
ladies are checking out the other ladies' fashions, and the guys are checking out the other ladies' fashions, and kids are running around, and just everybody's having a great time with this stroll, the passeggiata. It's a tradition.
the
Big cities and
promenade.
small cities.
Yeah.
I was in Rome last month on a Sunday night. There must have been 40,000 people on the main street, the Via del Corso. I'd never seen it so crowded. And they weren't really shopping, not many shopping bags in hand. Shops are open, but they're just out for a walk.
Yeah.
And that happens if you have the infrastructure for it. If you don't have that street for pedestrians, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. But you talk about infrastructure, and I mean, that's really important. And the walkways, the way the city is planned, you know, the fact that there's a real architecture around you. The architecture is consonant. It speaks to you. It offers you special benefits. We don't have that.
We don't.
We have eclectic at best, you know.
You know, the difference between Europe and most American places is night and day. In Europe, the cities are livable places where you've got the shops on the ground floor and the apartments upstairs. And they're designed such that there's back courtyards, usually, for the apartments so that they can be quiet. They can have quiet rooms on the back sides of these buildings. The air and light comes through, and yet they've got the neighborhood amenities. America, of course, is suburbia. You drive miles out to your house, and you're surrounded by a little moat we call a lawn and a fence.
Right.
You've got your feudal fiefdom.
Disconnected, yeah.
That's it. We don't have neighborhood bars by and large. We don't have that sidewalk cafe on the corner. It's happened in Europe, and you see it, and you see people taking advantage and enjoying it. They're out, especially on weekends. They're out walking, and in a small town, they're all running into their friends. They're walking dogs, and the dogs are talking to each other, so the people stop and they start talking. In the big cities, you've got the same thing going on. Pedestrian zones, not just a street, but entire zones. It's something, again, we should be learning from these European cities. They build in the urban core, not out in the farmlands. They preserve the farmlands. In Europe, the city is a very discrete entity, and then it has a boundary, and then beyond the city, it's usually rural and farmlands. It's not suburbia. So you've got urban and country.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Western Canada, the same thing. Australia, the same thing. I mean, it's a European influence.
Right.
But, you know, this leads me to a question which we had not discussed, but let me throw it at you.
Okay.
You've traveled a lot. You've seen cities that are beautiful. I mean, in the fullest sense of the human experience of a city, which is really important for the human experience. And you come back and look at Honolulu and you see these problems, and you've enumerated only some of them. There are others, many others. Don't you think maybe someday you're going to take a plane on a one-way trip?
Me personally.
What keeps you here?
Well, Hawaii's been my home for almost 50 years, so that's a big anchor. And I get to go away. So I get my rock fever taken care of with trips. Granted, we're the most isolated place, and it's hard to get from here to anywhere. But with the jet age, you get on a plane, and the next day you're somewhere else. So I think I'll stay here. I'd like to stay here. I've always been very political here.
Good.
And I've been very active
Good.
in organizing communities and putting out urban ideas and such. And
Good.
I'll continue with that to some degree or another, because I think we've got great potential here in Honolulu to build a beautiful city. We haven't even begun to take a look at it.
For a long time, the way we were planning things and building this kind of eclecticism all over town, thoughtless, unplanned eclecticism, was because people did not have the experience of travel. They did not have your experience of going to Europe and seeing the way cities really work and walk down that promenade.
Right.
And if more people did, travel is broadening. More people did make that trip with you or elsewise.
That'd be nice. They can come with me or go on their own. Sure.
They would learn about infrastructure. They would learn about planning.
They would see there are much better ways to do it than what we've failed to do here. As you say, there's really been a lack of planning. That's what it gets right down to. I studied urban planning at the university as well, too.
This is very revealing.
Yeah, that's one of 2.5 master's degrees at the University of Hawaii, including some urban planning studies.
Impulsive, I'd say.
And the late 60s, early 70s, those were the days. Could happen.
What's the first step, Dennis Callan?
Education of the public. That's a very basic first step. And they can get educated by watching my videos.
Okay.
They can go to tourvideos.com, and there I've got over 1,000 videos, short videos on YouTube.
Do you also take pictures of infrastructure in these videos?
Well, I do. That's what it's all about. Most of my videos are about the place, about the buildings, the streets, the people, the restaurants, the cafes. It puts you there. It's like being there.
And then you can get an idea of what life is like.
Yeah, also the museums and the culture and the fine arts and the sculptures and those wonderful things that are the fountains that are always there around you too. But yeah, the architecture has always been a fascination of mine, and it shows up in most of my videos.
So how long are you going to continue to do this?
Oh, a long time.
You're not yet done then.
Well, I graduated from college in '67, and now I'm 67 years old, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm looking at another 10 to 15 years of travel and another 30 years of editing my videos. I hope when I'm about 99, I'll be editing my last movie. I'm about 10 years behind right now, so I've got a lot of work to do. It gets me out of bed in the morning.
And if anybody wants to see your website, it's...
tourvideos.com.
Okay.
That's the video. Or toursbytrain.com for the trips.
Okay. Tell me about the trains to get around within the city. What's it like?
Of course, in the big cities with 2 million plus, they have subways usually. But if it's 1 million people, they don't have subways. They don't have elevated trains by and large either. What is happening is a revival of the trams. The streetcars are coming back gangbusters all over Europe. And of course, they had them 100 years ago, and many cities have retained them through that time period. But more often they went away. They were abandoned. Now they're being reactivated. New tracks are being laid. Lanes are being taken away from cars.
Lovely.
So it's right at street level.
Lovely.
Even in towns with 200,000 people. It's so easy to get on it because you're on the sidewalk and it pulls up and you walk right on. It's level with the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And then
don't
you
have to-
ride a couple stops, you see the shops going by, you see there's a shop I want to go to, you get off. It's good for business.
And you watch people again.
Yeah,
You
you do. You see the scenery gliding right by.
Don't have to go fast. It's okay not to go
That's
fast.
right, yeah. And when it gets out of downtown, it goes a little faster.
Yeah.
But in town, it's just putting along. In fact, it's in a shared roadway with bicycles and pedestrians and baby carriages, and people cross the tracks. You walk right across these tracks. It's not a problem.
So it really is. It's not a barrier. It's kind of an addition to this whole gestalt about livable cities.
Yeah, it really is. I was in Nice just last month in the south of France, and they put in a brand new tram right down the main street, and it's transformed the city.
Interesting.
It was a beautiful city to begin with.
It's the street with all the hotels on it, that street?
No, not the oceanfront street. No, that's still for cars, and the Promenade des Anglais with the wide sidewalk by
That's
the
the
beach.
one I know, yeah.
And, and the beach side is open. They don't have hotels on the
Smart.
beach side of their road.
This is really smart.
So they really got a lot to teach us, especially about residential densities. Medium density, they don't have much skyscraper apartments. Usually in Europe, it's general rule 5-story buildings for apartments with your shops on the ground floor and block after block after block of just that. So it really builds up as a city. Barcelona is another great example. I was also there recently. My most recent movie's on YouTube. You can have a look at it.
Okay.
And you'll see it's called the Eixample, the extension of Barcelona, was planned around the year 1900. Master planned by one engineer with large blocks and central courtyards for each one of those blocks, wide boulevards, wide sidewalks, and it's beautiful.
It's a wonderful city, Barcelona.
It's still
Modern.
functioning so perfectly.
Yeah.
Better than this engineer could have even imagined, I think. And still, you've got the old Gothic quarter with its narrow lanes, and it's very atmospheric and wonderful to walk through this pedestrian zone. So you have both happening right there. Barcelona is amazing.
Yes.
In Europe,
Oh,
bicycles
yeah.
are taking off. The shared bicycle
now.
plans,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. Paris started it, and now every city has got thousands
Beautiful,
of free or very cheap bicycles
Making those
with
city
the lanes.
completely livable.
With the lanes, you got to have a protected lane for the bicycle. That's really the key.
Well, I wanted to sort of divide this up a little bit. We've had discussions in advance, and I wanted to talk about tech, and you're a perfect person to talk about tech. And so let's talk about tech and travel. I should have called this Tech Travels with Dennis Callan, but
sure.
it's implied.
Yeah. Tech contributes so much nowadays
Yeah.
to our world of travel. You know, from finding hotels.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many websites now for finding hotels, for booking your flights, of course, and then for bringing information with you in your tablet or in your phone or in your laptop, and for researching, my goodness, for using the web before you go. So let's talk about before you go.
Yes.
You want to do your basic research. You've probably got a few places in mind. Everybody has a bucket list, places they want to go. And so you get busy, you start Googling. You go to Wikipedia, you go to Wikitravel, and then you start clicking links. And of course we know that's endless. You just keep going.
It's a joy when you're traveling on the web. It's so easy and cheap.
Yeah, it is. And then there's visual information there too. Flickr is a very good website now. They're improving with Yahoo taking it over for just browsing places photographically. Google Earth is incredible for scoping out a town and deciding, well, do I really want to go to Cadiz in Spain? What is Cadiz like? And so you have all those visual tools. You can drop in, walk down a street. It's amazing.
A friend of mine lives in Israel, okay, and I got an email from her, and I found the name of the kibbutz that she lives on, so I went there by Google Earth.
Yeah.
And I can walk down the street, okay, of this remote town on the Jordan border using Google Earth. That's amazing, you know. And you can do that anywhere, really. You know, even in an area which is like, maybe under some duress, and maybe they don't want to give away all the secrets, but you can walk down the street in a town in Israel.
You can do it, and increasingly Google is taking you off the road too. The Grand Canyon, the Honolulu Zoo, they have their backpack cameras. They're going to have your home pretty soon, the inside of buildings.
The inside.
They have
you be careful who you let in your house.
X-ray.
Okay,
But
so
yeah, so now, once you've captured that stuff, you look at it on the web, you want to capture it, you want to download it somehow and put it into your phone. Smartphones are so ubiquitous, but that screen is so darn small that I really suggest a tablet when you're traveling.
not a laptop.
Well, laptop, sure, but I think more so nowadays a tablet.
Okay.
More and more people are, just getting by, the ubiquitous iPad, of course, and I suggest that you use the Safari browser and save a page as a web archive. That format as web archive transfers very well to the iPad, and it looks just like the web page.
And you can send it to the iPad.
You can send it. Now that's another story. How to get information from your computer into your iPad. for example. And of course, iTunes can do it, but it's very limited. It's great for music and for pictures and for movies, for videos. Fine for that. But for data, for moving other things, I prefer third-party apps, and my favorite is air sharing. Air sharing,
it's
about $5 for air sharing. There's no monthly fee, of course. And it connects your device to your computer wirelessly. It's so easy to do, really simple. And then once they're connected, you can just drag and drop things from the computer into the tablet, into folders, into subfolders, highly organized. And so
You have to download it into both machines.
you download it into your computer. And then once it's downloaded, one way or the other, into your computer, your laptop, whatever, then you can just drag it over to your iPad, to your device.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and then it's all organized, and it just works really well. So you can grab those web pages, and then once the web page as a web archive is in your device, then you can be in your hotel room if you're on Wi-Fi in the room when you're traveling, and you call up that page in your device, and you can click a link, and it'll actually go to that website.
It's just like you brought up the page.
It's exactly
Except
like
it's an
that.
accumulated
And
page
it's
with all the stuff you put on there.
Exactly. You've got it all organized. And
Right.
that is very helpful, and that's all free.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. Another way to get good information into your device is by scanning in pages from books. Most of us have travel books and libraries loaded with travel books, and it's a pain in the neck to bring more than a book.
Oh, sure.
on it.
Heavy.
A 50-pound limitation on your suitcase.
My
now.
wife knows how to do that. Yeah.
So before my last trip, I took a stack of books that high, and I just scanned in the appropriate chapters, the stuff I wanted. And then I didn't bring any books.
Right.
And it was all organized. Then you can take all the chapters on Lucerne from 10 different books and put them in one folder. And so it's really handy to do it that way. And just by scanning, desktop scanner, create PDFs as you scan.
Sure.
It's really
Put them in
basic.
a
kind of
folder,
stuff.
and then you're on the train or whatever, or on
That's
the plane,
it.
and you're refreshing it. By the time you get there, you really know what you're doing.
That's the time to do it. Before you get there, or the night before when you're relaxing in your room, you're going to sleep. Not so much when you're out walking around. You don't want to fiddle too much.
Yeah.
We'll get to that too. How to get the most out of being there.
Yeah.
You want to be there with as little between you and the event as possible. But preparation really helps.
What about cameras?
Well, the smartphone has become the #1 camera in the world now. And for many good reasons, it's ubiquitous. You pull it out and bang, and that's great. Shooting your food, using a flash, and they're very good. I prefer using a real camera, and it doesn't have to be a big digital SLR, because the smaller compact cameras nowadays have gotten really good. They've broken through the problem of low light.
Yeah.
It used to be that the little cameras were terrible in low light.
Yeah.
Now they're very good.
Yeah.
So by low light, you just mean indoors, or twilight, or nighttime.
Yeah.
And so you can take pictures without using flash, or just using a little flash. That's another nice thing about a real camera. You can just turn on a little bit of flash if you want to highlight.
Too much flash and it blows it out. It's not a good picture.
Not a good picture at all.
Yeah.
That's a problem with the smartphones.
Yeah.
So
Sure, yeah.
I suggest you get a good little pocket camera and pay some money. Pay $600, $800. I can't even recommend any brands because it changes so quickly. But do your research online and you'll find the
I'm
reviews.
just talking about video too now. Your 1,000 videos, how did you make them?
Those are done with a video camera, with a good high quality video camera.
Big one or a little one?
Yeah, pretty big. Yeah, it's high definition. And, I'm pretty serious. I'm pretty much a geek when it comes to video, unlike
We
most
have to
people.
talk.
Yeah. But these little cameras will shoot decent video. That's another amazing thing. Now, a couple suggestions. Photography tips.
You want to give photography tips, suggestions now?
Yeah.
We're going to give you tech tips on electronic cameras.
Yeah. A few basic tips on still photography and also on video photography. First of all, get a good little camera. It doesn't have to be the big one, but the little guys now, and some of them even have interchangeable lenses, those small compact cameras.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
I just heard about recently. Panasonic's.
Yeah, oh, they're a good brand.
Lumix, I think it's called.
That is one of the best.
And for less than $1,000, you can get a first-class, high-definition video camera.
Absolutely.
The size of one of those ordinary point-and-shoots.
It's
Great
true.
camera.
The Lumix is a phenomenal camera. Sony also makes a very good camera at about that range and price point.
Just came in. Sony was here on Friday at this table.
Oh, good.
And they showed one of their new cameras. It was beautiful, and it was not expensive, and it was small and light, which is a consideration.
I'm thinking maybe I should get rid of my big video camera, but anyway, so you've got your little camera. So for still photography, you want to, first of all, learn how to use your camera before you go on the trip. Become very familiar with override, manual control, backlighting, how to turn the flash on, how to force the flash on. Not automatic flash, but force it on when you have backlight. You know, you're standing in front of some scenery and it's pretty bright back there and the sun is behind you, your face is in a shadow. It's going to be a terrible picture unless you turn on the flash, and then boom, then it's a very nice picture. Yeah. These things are very easy to do, but you have to, you know, learn that menu. Yeah. So learn the camera, and then shoot a lot. You should have the camera ready when you're out walking around. Don't have it in your bag turned off with a lens cap on. Have it ready. But don't get obsessed with it. That's the other issue that I'm guilty of that more than anybody, really. I'm always shooting video, but that's really my job, so that's what I do.
You can be forgiven.
Yeah, thank you. It's to share with everybody. But for that traveler, you want to capture the scenes, and you want to get those shots, but don't look at the tour like this through the camera, which some people do. They'll hop off a tour bus, and they've got 10 minutes in a place, and it's all click, click, click. So, you know, do it in a reasonable way. But you want to get the shot framed correctly, shoot on full power of the camera, don't dumb it down, use the full resolution, have enough SD cards that you've got plenty of storage. It's cheap now, you can get a 64 gigabyte card and that'll get you through most trips with one card. And then for video, a couple of basic tips for video. That same camera can take pretty good pictures with video. But the thing is, you've got to, first of all, hold the camera steady. And I don't mean steady like this, I mean really steady, just rock solid steady. You might want to rest it on something if you can, that's helpful. And try and do only a short pan if you're going to do a pan. Not one of these endless pans that goes around forever and ever and ever.
It tends to shift when you're doing that, it shakes.
They're really boring and, and they shake. So just a short pan, you start here, hold it, and then smooth to there. That's it, you're done. And keep your shots short too, 4 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. And if you can remember those few tips, then you'll get some pretty pictures. It's also useful with video especially to review your shots at night. Not so much for the still photos, you can deal with that when you get home, there's thousands of them, right? But look at the video that you're shooting to see either how good or how bad it is. And if it's all shaky, then you're gonna realize, oh, okay, I gotta hold it more steady. So there's some basic
What do you think about a monopod?
Monopods are very good for video. Yeah, I've used a monopod.
You can use it as a walking stick, you can use it as a club,
yeah.
self-defense.
You feel pretty invulnerable in the evening when you've got your club with you.
You kill him with the camera.
Like Hercules, really. Now, lately I've been using a tripod because, again, that's my job. That's what I do. So for really good video, you want a tripod. But monopods get you more than halfway there. They're really excellent. And they're good for a still photo in very low light where you need a long exposure. That's something else with your little camera on a still shot indoors or twilight. Twilight's a wonderful time to be out shooting. But try and hold it against something physically, like a pole or a post or a railing. There's always some fixed object nearby, and if you can utilize that and also frame your shot in low light, then do that.
How about some tips on indoor shooting? Well,
again, you want to hold it really steady because even if it's a sensitive camera that can shoot at, let's say, ISO of 800, it's still a little going to be shaky inside. So you want to try and anchor it down and use a little flash fill, not much.
Okay. Well, okay, now we got pictures. What about, well, I'll let you go. I'll let you go on this, but one question I have, which you may or may not address, is sound. Do you
well, for the video,
have sound?
sure.
Well, you have sound in the video, but anything else?
Some of these little cameras might even have a mic jack. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
If it does, then you know that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
Have a mic jack. But that gets
You got to bring a mic.
pretty advanced. You got to use it. But you want to interview somebody, you just stick a mic in their face.
Well, interviews. I just came back from a class at HBU, and this is a what do you call it, communications class, and the assignment is to do a little movie, and it's great to do interviews on the road, right? Catch somebody and ask him his opinion about something. So to have a camera for that, I'm sure you do that, right?
I do. I wish I did more of it, but it's a wonderful thing because it really breaks down the wall between you and that person.
Yeah.
And then for your viewer, it breaks down the wall too. It just brings them right into the situation.
Benefits, yeah.
For the techie stuff, that should cover it.
Yeah.
Maybe a laptop if you want to get elaborate, but tablets are great. You can do all of your email with the tablet. Unless you're a business person, now that's another category.
Well, when I traveled last time around, I wanted to write an article for the paper, and I thought about bringing but I could not imagine doing on a tablet. You want to write an article for the paper? I know you're right. You really need more than a tablet.
You
to
want a
write the
keyboard
article.
for that,
Yeah,
sure.
you need a keyboard.
Yeah. Well, personally, I bring a laptop with me when I'm traveling. So I've got this backpack that's got my video camera and the batteries and the charger and extra hard drives. In my case, I need extra external hard drives and my tablet, and the thing weighs about 40 pounds.
Treat it as exercise.
Yeah, that's just my backpack.
Travels and Tech Travels with Dennis Callan. Infrastructure Travels with Dennis Callan.
Infrastructure.
Right.
Urban planning with Dennis Callan.
It's been wonderful. We have to do it again.
Okay, thank you, Jay. It's been a pleasure.